Thank you so much.
Okay. Welcome. We're gonna go live. Here we are. Welcome, ladies. We are learning a sikha from Rebbe from the eve of Rosh Hashana. Like every Rosh Hashana, it's like a few hours before Yom Tov, or maybe right before Yom Tov. I don't know exactly how many hours. In 1991, it's a teaching and kind of like a blessing, and it's a forward thinking of the Rebbe for the new year. So let's see inside. First of all, the Rebbe quoted a teaching, which is also a psak-din, which is a halachic ruling, a Torah law. The Rebbe says this is a Torah law. It says in the Torah that the courts, the judges, are supposed to judge and save the community, save the congregation, meaning they have to find merit. Okay, so the Rebbe expanded on that, and we learned that yesterday. So now the Rebbe is taking this idea, how this commandment really considers it like an instruction. That the judges have to judge the community favorably to save the community. And then the Rebbe says the biggest saving is when we have the true and complete redemption with Mashiach. That's the full saving of the community. And the Hitzilu is like a word Hatzalah. I just saw Hatzalah got like 31 new ambulances donated. Okay, wow. Hatzalah means to save. So it's saving lives. So this Hatzilu is a commandment for the judges to judge the community that they can save them. And Hashem is saving us by giving us a sweet year. And then the Rebbe said that we're supposed to have this attitude that Hashem is for sure saving us this year. And that's why in Rosh Hashana, when we get ready for Rosh Hashana, we prepare good food, good wine, good drinks, good clothing. We dress white, and we eat we drink sweet wine and sweet drinks and eat fatty foods. But that's all because to show that we're trusting God, that we're going to have a good, sweet year and a happy, healthy year and everything. So now we're in this Torah portion. He's talking about the Torah portion of Nitzavim Vayelech. Nitzavim means standing upright. I would say we stand like kings that are getting from the King of Kings the uprightness, that we're going to for sure be standing firm and tall. That's what we need to do. Also coming out upright in judgment. And Vayelech, that I was going to speak about now, which is the next week's Torah portion, Vayelech. Nitzavim, you are standing here today. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Jewish people right before he passed away. He said, you are standing all before God, Hashem, your God, in a way of Nitzav, standing like a king upright. Yesh, which means, what does it mean? Yesh b'kocham shebnei Yisrael shetekef achar kach yetznan v'yelech l'kol ha'rosh alicha megalut l'geula. When you're standing upright, then you can start walking. And that's the next Torah portion after Nitzavim, standing upright, is the Parsha Vayelech, which means to go, to move forward. So the Rebbe says, what's this going forward? Going out of Galus, out of exile, to the Geula, to the redemption. Which includes going out of the lands of exile, to the land of the Geula, to the land of Israel. Especially in a way that all the people who are sitting there, living in the land, are there. Meaning everybody is able to come to the land of Israel and be there. And then afterwards, we're in the state of going. That's the Torah portion of going, walking. What's the walking? The walking is going from strength to strength. Until we come to Hashem appears in Zion. Okay, so these are all verses that the Rebbe is saying is relevant. The Torah portion, when it says stand upright and walk, is referring to the ultimate standing upright and walking to Geula, to the final and complete redemption, going from strength to strength until Hashem appears to us in Zion, in Zion. This also happens not just globally to the whole Jewish people going out of exile, but also to each and every Jewish person. Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people, today, my days are filled. He was speaking right before he passed away. So he said, what does it mean, my days? Moshe Rabbeinu, this is right before he passed away, he says, today, my days are filled. What does it mean, my days are filled? It means that, first of all, Moshe Rabbeinu is his soul belongs and is within a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu, is in each and every one of us. So this having a full life means that each and every Jewish person, each and every Jew, has yamim v'shanim leim, full and complete years and days, meaning their time is full. B'torah mitzvot, what is a full with Torah and mitzvahs? How do we have this power to have our days full? When do we feel most alive? I was just thinking this the other day. When we're feeling the most alive is when we're full of action at learning and doing Torah and mitzvahs, not just any sort of, random acts of, action, but when we're really filling it with some content, meaningful content of Torah and mitzvahs, then we feel the most alive. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, my life was full. My days and my years were filled with Torah and mitzvahs. The Rebbe says we each have that power to do that because Moshe Rabbeinu had that. This aspect of being able to fill your life fully with Torah and mitzvahs and be a full life, days and years, time is really alive and full, because we, each and every one of us, have an aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu within us, right? We know he was a general soul, and we have a little spark of that soul, all-encompassing soul in each and every one of us, and that has an effect on us, that we can take it to action. Just like the Rebbe explains in Tanya, this idea that we each have a little aspect of Moshe within us. The Tzemach Tzedek, his grandson, explains this even more. That is paragraph 4. Does anybody have a question on this idea? We've spoken about this before. We know it. We have this. We can tap into it. We're not just what we seem to ourselves, just what we labeled ourselves of who we are from what we know from our past is not relevant, the Rebbe is saying, basically. Don't judge yourself and confine yourself to what you think you are and who you are and what you're capable of. The Rebbe says we each have a soul, and we each have a soul. In our soul, we have a spark, an aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu's soul within us. So because Moshe Rabbeinu said, I have my life and my days were filled with Torah and mitzvahs and complete. So we all have this ability to have our days and filled and complete and full of Torah and mitzvahs. Then we're the most potent and most alive people around when we have that. It's pretty incredible. I see that when I'm doing mission of the Rebbe, and I feel I'm doing something that is like, I feel like this is something the Rebbe wants me to do, and I'm going for it. I have a lot more energy and a lot more like layers of things going on simultaneously that normally if I had planned it out, I would not have been able to plan that I could accomplish on this level so many things going on at once. It's like I was telling you what was going on in Camarillo on Sunday when we went there. When I think of it, I took videos and pictures of that day, and I'm looking back, just to go back and at the pictures and the videos, I'm seeing there was so much going on simultaneously that I would never have been able to plan such a day or in my wildest dreams. Right? So when we put ourselves out there on a mission, things will happen, regardless of, not within our capacity. It's from above. It's definitely from the Moshe Rabbeinu sending things, orchestrating things. By the way, remember I told you yesterday that I asked in the Gus Kodesh, I asked if we should go to Israel for Sukkot, and I didn't get a blessing. And then 3 times I didn't get a blessing. So my husband wrote, and he got an answer. No, make the fact that you want to go. The kids want the father to go. You want to go, but your wife doesn't want to go to Israel. And he got the answer. The Rebbe told the story of Tzemach Tzedek that he told the Chassid, you want to go to Israel, but Israel doesn't need you. Make Israel here. Okay, right? So we did not make any tickets to go to Israel for Sukkot, even though we had many reasons to go. And I read last night that all these flights were canceled from all these airlines. Our flight that we were looking at, the flights that we were looking at, all the flights and all these airlines, they're all canceled. Wow. So we wouldn't have been able to go anyway, practically, technically. Anyway, but it wasn't meant to be for now. God willing, we'll all be there. We'll all be there and miraculously. That's the goal. That is the goal.
Well, you're making Israel here miraculously.
Yes,
you really want to leave and go there, but you're here.
We're here. We're making Israel. We're expanding. Yes, the miracles are coming here too. Okay.
Amen, amen. And the
Okay.
biggest miracle is you weren't going to show up because you thought nothing would be there, and we thought you should go.
Yeah,
And you got more than you expected. It's
amazing.
like
You're part of the miracle.
too much.
No, you are.
Beyond that.
Beyond.
After I spoke with you ladies, and you encouraged me, then I called up the rabbi and I said, does it look like we should? Yes. I told him we're coming. I said, but I asked him also, do you think we should bring a helper, an assistant? Because he had no idea how many. He said, yes, I think it would be a good idea. So we stopped on the way and picked up this young boy to help us. And I don't know if I would have made that. I probably would not have made that call if I hadn't had you ladies' encouragement. Go.
It was Hashem. No, Hashem planned it for you. It wasn't, you just had to show up there.
We had to show up there, but we also, because of you, I think, ladies, we made sure to stop by because we were in a debate whether to get help on the way. We have to pay the helper, and we didn't know how much work there would be for him or for my husband to make it worth his time to pick up this boy from the valley and schlep him to Camarillo.
Well, it's really funny that no one would be there, and then suddenly asked, should I bring a helper?
And then you got more. I bet you that's how you got more people, because you brought the help. It's like I would have said, forget the helper, just go, and and then look what happened.
Yeah. Well, that's why I called the rabbi and asked him, what does he think? And he said, yeah, bring him. Okay, so that was.
Well, the fact that you asked about a helper when you thought no one would be there.
But I have another idea too. How about when you go to another place, ask them if they can have a bacher there to help out. This way you can save on your funds.
Alyssa, we're talking Camarillo. We're talking remote cities.
There's no
bacher there. There's no bacher in there. What?
Oh, no boys there from the shul. No? Okay.
There's a shul that's a Chabad house with one of the first customer was a 106-year-old man. His tefillin hadn't been checked in 93 years since his bar mitzvah. It's never been checked. Okay, that was our first customer.
I want to wear his tefillin.
Okay, we're not talking. We're talking about.
How was his tefillin? Was it okay?
Listen, excuse me, I want to say something.
So we're studying, okay?
We're in the middle of We're in the middle of studying Torah,
yes, let's
right?
Continue.
Okay, let's start. Okay, we'll talk after.
Okay.
Good one, Hava.
Okay, here we go. Hey, the connection of the Day of Judgment of Rosh Hashana. Remember, we said the Rebbe said the days of judgment start Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. But the Rebbe says these days of judgment are called days of judgment, but they're judgment where the rabbis are commanded to save the congregation. Hitzilu haida. Hitzala, hitzilu, okay, save the aid of the congregation. Including and mainly that it should start, this saving of the congregation start on Erev Rosh Hashana. The Rebbe said this on Erev Rosh Hashana, the eve of Rosh Hashana. She'erev, eve of Rosh Hashana, is a preparation, and it's me'ena davar, it's similar to what we're preparing for. She'elam mitchonenim. V'achat kama v'kama b'nogea le'erev Rosh Hashana, she'az yishno krav yitzilu eidad Rosh Hashana. So for sure, the Rebbe says it's Erev Rosh Hashana. For sure, we have the idea of the congregation is already saved on Rosh Hashana. We already have that happening. Erev Rosh Hashana, the eve of Rosh Hashana, like we said from the Shulchan Aruch Code of Jewish Law, that the judges are commanded to save the congregation. It's interesting. I know everything. My mind is one track mind right now.
And they're saving Israel now.
Yes, saving Israel now for sure. That's very timely. So it's already, as we're preparing for Rosh Hashana, Hashem is already saving the Jewish people for sure.
Amen.
And so we know already on Erev Rosh Hashana, we already now before Erev Rosh Hashana, I'm adding that we're Zocha Badin, that we're going to come out good in the judgment. The Jewish people are going to come out Zocha. Zakai means meritorious. So then we start the preparations for Rosh Hashana. We know Shabbos and Yom Tov, regular Shabbos and Yom Tov, we have to prepare especially for Shabbos. You don't just pop into Shabbos. You have to prepare. So how much more so for preparing for Rosh Hashana, the head of the year? You don't just jump into Rosh Hashana. You start planning and preparing for it. Because Rosh Hashana has an effect on every day of the year. We know that the 48 hours of Rosh Hashana are very, very significant. They do have an effect on all the year. That's why many people have the custom not to sleep on Rosh Hashana. they have a custom to say as much Psalms on Rosh Hashana. To try to finish the Psalms twice is the custom in Chabad. Because it's like the head of the year, and what goes on in the head of the year has an effect on the entire year. Okay, that's paragraph 5. Paragraph 6. We could say some other Chiddush, the connection between Rosh Hashana and the Geula Zochim Badin, were meritorious in the judgment. Its was revealed more in the later generations. Because at Tzemach Tzedek, the grandson of Alter Rebbe, was born on Erev Rosh Hashana. What's an interesting thing to pay attention to? The name of the Tzemach Tzedek is the same name as Mashiach. One of the names of the Mashiach is Tzemach Shmo. And the Tzemach Tzedek, whose name was Menachem Mendel, he was called though the Tzemach Tzedek because he wrote a book called Tzemach. I think it was because he wrote a book called Tzemach Tzedek. But that was that's what he is identified as, the Tzemach Tzedek, and that's the name of Mashiach. So what's the connection with Tzemach Tzedek, the Alter Rebbe's grandson, who was born on Rosh Hashana, and Mashiach, right? Tzemach Tzedek and Chabad, he's the third leader of the Chabad movement, of the leaders of Chabad, and it includes in him an aspect from all the leaders of Chabad. That includes, we see in his writings and his teachings, he includes in it all the Torah from the leaders, the teachers of Chabad before him. And also includes from the rabbis after him. Until the Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, who the Rebbe calls the leader of our generation. בשמו יוסף יצחק השם יוסיף השם שנית ידו, מובן שעניין זה השייכות של רבים עם משיח נמצא בהדגשה אצל הצמח צדק הכולל את כל הניסים. So they're saying like this, which we find like this. I'll just translate. So the leaders of Chabad, and all the idea of revealing the inner dimensions of Torah and spreading the wellsprings of Torah to the outside through the teachers of Chabad, which, if anybody learns Hasidus, that the leaders of Chabad have volumes and volumes of volumes and the most content of explanation of the inner dimensions of Torah, way vast more. I would say millions of times more than you have in any other Hasidic dynasty. I mean, even Breslov, which has a nice amount of books, you can't compare it at all. Just go on kehat.com or Sichos in English and Google the books of the Chabad rabbis that there is in print today, and not just in Hebrew now, it's in many languages, is vast. And even that not all the Chabad teachings have been brought to print yet. They're still working on bringing things to print. So it's vast. Now, these teachings and spreading these teachings, it's like what we're doing now, learning and teaching these teachings, spreading it out. It's connected with the revelations of Mashiach. Especially of the previous Rebbe, who the Rebbe called him the leader of our generation, the Mashiach of our generation. Like it's alluded to in his name, Yosef Yitzchak, that was his name. Yosef Hashem Shenit Yedo, Hashem Yosef means to add. And Muvan Shinyan Zeh Sheichut Shel Rebbeinu Mashiach, the connection of the Rebbe's to Mashiach, Nimtza Bet Gesha, is also emphasized by the Tzemach Tzedek, whose name also is the name of Mashiach, Tzemach Tzedek. And he includes in him all the Nisim, or something of the teachings of all the Rebbe's before and after. It's interesting, the Rebbe Maharash, his son, of the Tzemach Tzedek, who took over the leadership after the Tzemach Tzedek of the Chabad dynasty, his teachings are something, it's not as popular, but I'm learning them now with Rabbi Wolffe Shabbos mornings. He teaches a shir, 8:30 Shabbos mornings, and it's not recorded, so I make sure to attend it. A lot of what we're learning from the Rebbe Maharash is things that we're learning here in this class, but a little bit it's preceding. He was a few generations ago. But the ideas, the concepts, already you see in a nutshell by him. The Rebbe expands it even more and takes it to the next level in these teachings. But it's based on the teachings you see, the parallel, the correlation of the Rebbe Marash, the son of the Tzemach Tzedek. Where did Rebbe Marash get it? He got it from the Tzemach Tzedek, whose birthday is Erev Rosh Hashana. So the Rebbe says the Tzemach Tzedek's teachings included everything before him and after him. And I see it, through learning his son's teachings every Shabbos morning. So it's very interesting. The ideas you see run through the concepts. It's not random. Each one spoke about something else. There's ideas that are being drawn and brought forth and then expanded upon. And later, each Rebbe explains it better and more and makes it more relevant. From this we understand the birthday of Tzemach Tzedek, which is on Erev Rosh Hashana, the Eve of Rosh Hashana, what's special about the birthday is that on the birthday, the mazel of the person is stronger. Okay, we know that there's a person has a mazel, part of their soul that's up there, that's not necessarily so well felt all the time, right? We have a soul, but we don't necessarily in tune with and feeling and sensing our soul. But on the birthday, this mazel, the power, the potency of our soul is very, very strong. That's why it's a good day to make resolutions. It's a good day to take on new things that you want to do for the year, take an accounting, connect with people. There's a lot of good things. Make it an auspicious day make it meaningful, make it multi-layered, like we said. Get together with people and also have time to yourself and have a lot of things going on, which seems impossible, but pack it all in on your birthday. So the birthday of the Tzemach Tzedek is on the eve of Rosh Hashana. The mazel is strong. So the Rebbe says for what happens, because the Tzemach Tzedek's name is the name of Mashiach, so the name of Mashiach is stronger. So the Rebbe is saying that the Tzemach Tzedek, who's up in heaven, is for sure doing everything that he can, doing his part, his pula, his activities to bring the revelation of Mashiach. And more than the Gilui of Mashiach, the revelation of Mashiach himself, not just the name of Mashiach, the revelation of his name and himself, Mashiach Kafishu L'Mala Mishmo, which is there's a name and then there's a person. The name is just an extension of the person. So the person himself is beyond the name. So the Rebbe is saying for sure the Tzemach Tzedek is pulling strings up in heaven to reveal Mashiach. הדרך זה כפי שזה בנוגע לנשמה של 5 שמות נקראו לו, הנפש רוח הנשמה חיה, השם החמישי יחידה, עד עצם הנשמה של 5 שמות נקראו לה. Like the Rebbe explains, the soul we know has 5 parts to it. 5 revelations. It has nefesh, which is in the body, ruach is in the emotions, neshama is in the intellect, and chaya is in the beyond the intellect, which is faith and will and pleasure. Then the 5th level is Yechida, which is the level of beyond. Okay, it's one with Hashem. But then there's also the essence of the soul, which it says 5 names were named to the neshama. So even though it says the level of Yechida, which is the beyond, is a name for the soul. So there's the soul itself that has the 5 names to it. Then the essence of the soul. So there's all these levels. And these are being revealed on the day of the birthday. So too you could say about Mashiach. Aside from revealing the name of Mashiach, until the level of Yechida, which is connected to all of us. We all have a level of Mashiach on this level of Yechida, this high soul level. We all have it. It's just not so revealed. We also have the level of the essence of Mashiach, which is one with Hashem's essence. There's an aspect of Mashiach which is essence with essence of Hashem. There's no right. It's one with Hashem. That everything is sourced in Hashem. Therefore, there's revelation of Mashiach on Erev Rosh Hashana, before on the eve of Rosh Hashana, which is connected with us accepting Hashem's kingship. Hashem is king. Sovereign king, that we, accept the yoke of heaven. That's the idea of Rosh Hashana, that we're making Hashem our king. And it's Kalel, we mentioned before, with this revelation of the idea of Malchus, of making Hashem our king. בכל אחד ואחד מישראל, each and every one of us, כמובן, גם מהפסק דין הטור בנוגע לערב ראש השנה כנזכר, like it's understood from the psak din of the Tur when it comes to Erev Rosh Hashana that we mentioned before, that everybody stands upright and we're getting a good judgment. שהוא יסוד של השולחן ערוך בית יוסף, שהוא יסוד לשולחן ערוך אדמו"ר הזקן, שעליו ישנם כמה תשובות וברורים מהצמח צדק. So in the little brackets, which is very interesting, the Rebbe says, take note that this tour, this is the halachic book that the Rebbe is quoting about being zocher bedin, that the judges have to judge the congregation favorably and make them come meritorious and save them, is the foundation. This book that I was quoting is the foundation, is founded on the Bais Yosef, which is also halachic work of, so he rules that, or the tour is based on the rulings of the Bais Yosef, and also it's the foundation of the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe, which is the Code of Jewish Law that the Alter Rebbe put together. And the Alter Rebbe's book, based on the Code of Jewish Law, that the Alter Rebbe clarified more laws in Jewish law. There's explanations that are clarified even more by the Tzemach Tzedek, okay, whose birthday is Erev Rosh Hashana. So that's in little brackets. Okay, anybody have questions or comments? Welcome, Sean. Anybody have questions?
What was the Tzemach Tzedek? What did he clarify?
He had viewing on the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe, the Shulchan Aruch it's called, the Code of Jewish Law that the Alter Rebbe compiled. It's called Shulchan Aruch, and the Tzemach Tzedek has viewing, has explanations on it. I already made a bracha. Mm-hmm.
The Alter Rebbe has explanations on the code of law of the.
Well, the Alter Rebbe I wouldn't call it explanations. He made his own code of Jewish law founded on the code of Jewish law, the Bais Yosef, which is founded on the Torah, which is, handed from. See, the oral law was at first oral. So over the years, it's been gone through times of the Gemara, times of the Mishnah, then the Gemara, and then the Rambam also codified a code of Jewish law. So throughout the generations, there have been rabbis who've made codes of Jewish law. The most, the latest really code of Jewish law, as far as I know, is the Alter Rebbe's. That's why I don't understand why people don't necessarily everybody follow Code of Jewish Law of the Alter Rebbe, because it's the latest one, it's the latest version. Now, some of the Code of Jewish Law that the Alter Rebbe wrote didn't make it till this day. Like some of it was burnt or lost in Russia. But whatever there is that the Alter Rebbe clarified, he's the last codifier of a Code of Jewish Law was the Alter Rebbe. So I always wonder, like, why isn't it that should be the most, you know what I'm saying? That should be the most relied upon, because that's the one he took from all before him and clarified even more. Based on the ones on the codifiers before, and compiled from everywhere. The Alter Rebbe, when he wrote his Code of Jewish Law, he was instructed to do it by the Maggid, and he did it because there was ideas in Kabbalah, and the Sephardim have their oral law that they codified and had different rulings than the Ashkenazim, right? We know that. So, right, the Sephardim were, many miles away, and the Ashkenazim were in Europe, and the Sephardim were more in the Middle East, or in, Spain and North Africa. So there was a disconnect. So some of the rulings came out a little different. So when the Alter Rebbe did his Code of Jewish Law, he was instructed by his Rebbe to do that, because to merge together the ideas in Kabbalah and the hidden secrets of Torah and the revealed aspects as they're brought in the Torah and Shulchan Aruch, the Bais Yosef, and then he clarified his understanding, and so we're very, very blessed. That's why also that's why there's also the Alter Rebbe's Ksav when it came to determining how to write letters of the Torah, also there was a few versions, different versions of how certain letters are supposed to be written. There's, slightly different, okay, from in Sephardi communities and in Ashkenazi communities, and even within the Ashkenazi communities, a little variations possibly. I wouldn't know exactly. My husband could explain to you this more, but so that's why the Alter Rebbe put together the Alter Rebbe Ksav, which is called Ksav Alter Rebbe, Ksav Admor Zaken. It's the way he merged together the letters as he understood they should be, that would include with it the opinions of Kabbalah and the opinions of the Torah law, the revealed Torah, and he compiled. And so there's a few variations of some of the letters that's according to the Ksav, the writings of the way that Alter Rebbe wrote it should be written. Now there's not that many ciphers in the world who know how to write this, so it's not so popular. And till like maybe 10 years ago, it was very, very much less common. In the last 10 years, there's been more suffering learning how to write it, so it's become a little bit more popular. But it's definitely the preferred Ksav according to you want to go by because with the Ksav Arizal even, there's lots of variations of Ksav Arizal. It's what the Rabbi Moshe Weiner, who wrote the book Sheva Mitzvos Hashem, and I went to meet him last October with my husband. He's my husband's Rav. He said, I wanted to understand these things. So we went to him directly, and he said to me that Ksav Arizal is a salad, he called it, a salad. It's like there's variations upon variations. They said that Alter Rebbe's psak of how the letter should be written is more meduyak, more precise. Okay? In any event, and it's based on the Alter Rebbe, taking these ideas that there's a salad out there of versions and putting them together into what he considered the best and the most exact. In any event,
Wow.
let's continue.
Wow, you have an education.
I got a little bit of an education. My husband can explain this much better because he knows also the different variations of each letter because he writes Ksav Alter Rebbe. And
The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch is much more interesting.
And
the other ones are dry, but his is very alive.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, he discusses things. Yeah, he brings more details and explains things.
Yeah.
The flow. In any event, yeah. So Baruch Hashem, my husband also over the years, because he's been writing 25 years, he's written the different ksavim, the different variations. He's written Arizal. I think he's even written Sephardi, but he can write old ksav. But now he only wants to really write Alter Rebbe. He has no need to write anything else. Okay, Zayin. Yesh lekasher ze imanyan de vayelech Moshe. We can connect this with the idea of vayelech Moshe. Moshe went. Halicha migalut geula, going from galus, exile to geula, like we explained in paragraph 4, right? We reviewed that this morning. There's an idea of going. Yelech Moshe. Moshe went. Where does it say he went? The Rebbe explains going from strength to strength. This is on the day that he's passing, okay, and he's reviewing the whole Torah for the Jewish people. It says he went. Now, according to what we said lately, okay, so this is an acronym that Davis mentioned a few times. I don't know how many times, but Davis says we spoke about lately. There's the word miyad. Miyad means immediately, right? David always says we should have Mashiach immediately. Miyad is the acronym of Moshe, Mem. Yud is Yisol Baal Shem Tov, and Dalet is David, King Mashiach. It's called David. Is called the King Mashiach. So Kosh L'Shayel, all those three, Moshe, the Baal Shem Tov, and David, Kshulim and Miyad and Nigalan are connected to the idea of immediately we should be redeemed. Miyad, immediately. Moshe, who go Lishon Agafan, how's Moshe connected to the immediate redemption? It says Moshe is the first redeemer, he's the last redeemer. So now the soul of Moshe is reincarnated in Mashiach. Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, it says, how is he connected to the idea of Mashiach coming immediately? Is because we know the story that he had his conversation with Mashiach, the soul of Mashiach. And Mashiach said to him, the Baal Shem Tov asked Mashiach, when will you come? When will you be revealed? And he said, when your wellsprings of teachings will spread out to the outside. That's the famous story. We're not going into it. Then we have David. Then how's David, King Mashiach, connected to Mashiach? Through him, Al Yodah Bar Geula, Geula comes Hamiti Veshlamav V'Poel in actuality. So, right, and Mashiach is from the descendants of King David, and through him, the actual Mashiach is going to actually take place. We're not even on a soul level, we're talking on a physical level. Mashiach is going to be from King David's offspring. In this word miyad, all three come together. What's miyad immediately? At one singular moment. So we know that all three aspects of Moshe, Yisrael, Baal Shem Tov, and David HaMelech, they're all really one point, one singular point, which is the point of Mashiach immediately, miyad immediately. So basically, I was saying all these, each one has their relevance and their connection to Mashiach in one way or another. The Moshe Rabbeinu on the soul level, the spark of Moshe and the soul of Moshe is in Mashiach. Baal Shem Tov, because his spreading of his wellsprings of his teaching is going to bring Mashiach immediately. And David is because the Mashiach is from the offspring of David. In actuality, in the physical body, it will be from King David. So, but however, the point of all three is that they're immediately Mashiach should come. Miyad. That's the acronym of those three names. So this idea of miyad immediately is divided into three aspects, or three details. In the order of Moshe Rabbeinu, then Yisrael the Baal Shem Tov, and then King David. The Rebbe explains, the power, the energy, the strength for Geula comes from Moshe. He is the first Redeemer, he's the last Redeemer. Moshe got the Torah from Mount Sinai, he passed it on. So that's the power for Moshe Rabbeinu, is the power to actually be able to bring Geula. Through him being the Redeemer and through him giving us the Torah, which helps us bring Mashiach. שזה כולל כל התורה, כל מה שתמיד ותיק עתיד לחדש, כולל גם הגילוי בפנימיות התורה. The Rebbe says that the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu gave on Mount Sinai included with it the entire Torah, even the things that we are students in the later generations reveal or come to with their minds, a chidush, they come to insights based on their understanding. All that is in a nutshell was given in potency to Moshe Rabbeinu at Mount Sinai. And that includes also all the teachings of Chassidus, including all the teachings of Chassidus that we're learning now. Learning at the generations, and especially revealed later generations, that was all given to Moshe Rabbeinu at Mount Sinai. Okay. Including the teachings of the spreading of the wellsprings through the Baal Shem Tov, the Chassidus, through that Mashiach reveals, and more. Moshe and David are the first and the last. The first Redeemer, which is Moshe Rabbeinu, he's actually David, the last Redeemer. Like we said, his neshama comes into David HaMelech. Between Moshe and David, there's the letter Yud Miyad, right? We said Moshe, Yisrael, David. So Moshe is the first letter, the first Redeemer. David is the last Redeemer. The Yud is Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. Shekai an nekudat yedud. What does this refer to? The Rebbe says this refers to this point of Yiddishkeit. K'fi she'omedet b'gilui ad she'mekabelet tzorat od. The letter Yud is like a little point. Okay, so it's always symbolized the point of Yiddishkeit that every Jew has, a pintel Yid. Adaba. Davka ha'Yud hi mechaberet et shnei otiyot mem ve'dalet. שיש להם מתפשטות שלא בערך יותר מתפשטות היוד, כי נקודת היהדות מתקשרת עם הקדוש ברוך הוא עצמו. לכן עומד היהודי במצב של מצד מלך וילך, דווקא הוא יש בו ככל להביא את הגול הראשון, הוא הגול האחרון. So this is a very beautiful thing. Okay, very, very beautiful. So we have the power of Moshe Rabbeinu. He gave us the Torah. He was the highest. He was the first Redeemer. Okay, we have that power. Then we have the power of King David himself, offspring, the Mashiach himself is going to be the one who actually brings the Geula in our time. Now, what's this little yud? The little yud, the Rebbe says, is the neshama of each and every Jew. And that is that point, Pintele Yiddishkeit, that each and every Jew has, that is actually what brings and binds and brings about the first Redeemer and the last Redeemer. Okay? Because that Pintele Yid, that point of Yiddishkeit that each and every Jew has, connects directly with Hashem. That little point of the Jew is the soul of every Jew that's connected always with Hashem. And it stands in a situation of Nitzav Melech. We said like standing straight before the king. And Vayelech means that we go and we ascend and we proceed. And that's bringing we have the power to bring the first Redeemer and the last Redeemer, the Redeemer into Revelation. Okay, so this Pintele that we have, this part of our Rosh Hashana that each and every Jew has that's connected to Hashem, we reveal that we're connecting the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu with Mashiach, our righteous Mashiach, and we actually bring the revelation into actuality. So where do we get this power to reveal our Yiddish point of Yiddishkeit? This Yechida, that it's the Yechida of our soul, which is the spark of Mashiach that which each and every one has, this Pintele Yid. It's connected, and we're able to reveal even the essence of our soul. How do we reveal it? That power to reveal our Pintele Yid was given through the Bais Chana of the Bais Chana who revealed Chassidus to the masses, to everybody. Through him revealing Chassidus. This includes, and it's referring to all the Torah of all Chassidus, of all our leaders throughout the generations. Mashiach, what's all connected to Mashiach, it's a Tzemach Tzedek was especially revealed by the Tzemach Tzedek, because his teachings included the teachings of all the rabbis, like we mentioned before in paragraph 6. And I think I'm going to stop here because it's almost 8:30. And you're welcome to ask or comment on this beautiful idea. I've always put the responsibility and the power back into our hands. We have great energies and great leaders and great teachings but who's going to make it all happen in actuality? It's each Jew revealing his point of Judaism that he has, his special point of Yiddishkeit, his essence of his soul that's always one with Hashem. That's what's going to make all these wonderful revelations come into actuality in this physical world. Each and every one of us, the politicians, the artists, the learners, the doers, the teachers, the homemakers, the kids. Yeah, even the little kids. Who wants to say something?
I wanted to say how beautiful it was to see your husband having that little boy identify the letters. It really was very beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. A nutshell video.
The nutshell video.
Told a lot.
It tells a lot. Yeah, I'm glad he's done it before. I have a few more of them, but he was a very cute little boy.
Just so fresh and new.
He's so cute. He's so cute. And it's not easy to find a boy or a girl, it could be a boy or a girl, who knows the letters, but doesn't know how to read yet. So it's a very short period of time. So, and that's the category that the child needs to be in to be able to help discern. Meaning you won't guess the letter by knowing the word or by reading the word.
You know what's amazing too? That you decide to go, it's sort of a spontaneous decision, not really, but sort of. And then you drive and you pick up this kid, with and the mother lets him go and he goes and
No. The kid that we picked up in the valley was 19 years old, who helped my husband do the work.
Oh, not the little one.
Yeah, the little child, he's the son of the rabbi, son of the rabbi who told the miracle story, how his son, the baby just was in ICU, just got out of the ICU and they're having the bris tomorrow.
Right.
And he said it was a big miracle. He told that story. I think I posted it. If not, I'll post it. I recorded him he brought his mezuzahs to be checked on Labor Day, September 2nd. And his wife was pregnant. And 3 days later, after he had them checked, they went for a regular checkup, and they said, "You're not leaving here. We're doing an immediate emergency C-section. The cord is wrapped around the baby's." And he said it was a miracle that they actually kept the appointment and went to the appointment, and that they caught it in time. And the baby was in ICU until a few days, I guess a couple of days ago. And I didn't even know it at the time. All of a sudden, because I didn't know this rabbi so well. But because I had been in touch with him about coming or not coming in his mezuzahs, so he was on my phone, and I see he's putting on his status, pray for my baby. The baby's, the baby had a lung collapse. The baby was in very, very, very big danger. And he's having the bris tomorrow. So from September 2nd till that day, they were there September 22nd, 20 days. He had been through a lot of miracles. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a tremendous connection of having his mezuzahs, tefillin, whatever checked.
Yeah.
Right before, so. But then also that you had this whole event right before the bris. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just the initial miracle. It's like it was like that miracle gave the ability for the baby to make it, and then the other point where you're coming there and you're he's helping others to get their tefillin checked, and that was like the like doing for yourself and then doing for others, and then he has the miracle of the bris, like now. Like, it seems like a very connection of like doing for yourself and then doing and then bringing it to others, and that like
it's really because of him that we actually came to Camarillo, because he was the one who initially brought up the idea, maybe you'll come to Camarillo. He brought up the idea a few weeks ago, before he had the emergency, before because he was hoping we'd come to Camarillo rather than him bringing his mezuzahs to Oxnard to be checked when we came there on September 2nd. So before we came September 2nd, he said, maybe you'll come to Camarillo, and because he wanted his mezuzahs checked there. And I said, no, we have no plans to come to Camarillo. So he brought his mezuzahs on September 2nd. And then 3 days later, after they were checked, that's when he had his miracle that they saved the baby's life. They had an emergency C-section, But because he was asking me at that point, before September, saying, will you come to Camarillo? Then I said, that's a good idea. Maybe we should do it. But then when his baby was born, he had the emergency. He said, I can't deal with it. Speak to Rabbi Lang about it. And so then we were back and forth with Rabbi Lang about whether we should come or not.
How long can you?
All of it rings my yad. Oh, sorry.
What?
All of it rings my yad.
Miyad.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do things immediately. And I told Rabbi Lang, this is a lesson for other Chabad houses, because Rabbi Lang had no idea if anybody would respond or anybody would bring mezuzahs or tefillin. He couldn't guarantee really that much. And it is. So any Chabad house out there who has a small Chabad house way out there, I think it's worth them, initiating, doing such a day. It takes a little bit of effort.
How long do you allow to have your mezuzahs off your door before having it checked?
I don't think there's a time.
It's just the kavanah that you're going to get it checked. Like, let's say it's a month or a few weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. You could ask. I could ask my husband, but I know that my husband tells people not to worry about it. If it's being checked, it's as if it's in a better position than if it's on your door. Okay.
And I think you should go to San Diego. I think
God willing.
Yes,
for sure. Okay, God willing.
Might have to say another bracha when you put it up again.
What?
Don't you have to say another bracha if you have it down for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, if it's 24 hours off, it's the next day. You have to make a new blessing when you put it back on, and most people have to do that. Most people don't get their mezuzahs within. Right,
do you make a blessing on each one, or just make one blessing on all?
No, one blessing for the first one, the front door, or wherever the one you're putting it back on. first, it's usually the front door, and then it goes on to all the rest of the. This is your
Well, thank you for sharing all the miracles that happen. It's
I didn't
very
share all the miracles, but
well, the ones you share with us, we appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the encouragement and helping make the miracles happen. It's with your encouragement that it takes a tribe, like to make something like this happen takes a little bit of like being a little bit proactive and willing to hope for the best and make sure, and try to make it work and, calling up the boy and calling up the rabbi and calling, making the publicity and figuring out. And it's a lot of whatever stuff going on. And you ladies encouraged me through this, so that made it happen.
There's a lot of steps, but like we were learning in the other Sikha, every step is part of the whole, the Kedusha in every single detail.
Yeah. What I like very much is that the other miracle of the police officer getting involved. So that brought the whole thing to another level that this.
I love that picture. That was awesome.
Yeah, this non-Jewish person was taking, I had to convince my husband to get into the picture also. He was busy and I said, no, you have to be in the picture. Anyway, so we got a picture of the police officer with everyone, with my husband. And they were all ecstatic. You see them; they're very, very. They're smiling.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. You see how
they were all very relieved because everybody felt bad that this tefillin went missing. But in the meantime, this police officer got a whole lesson about tefillin and what he got to see the sofer with the tefillin open. They showed him what he's doing. That he got to see the letters. He got the explanation what it is. The rabbi explained to him why we put on our head and on our heart and how we use it, in prayer. And it was a good bonding moment between the police officer and the rabbi. And he thanked him because he said this police, the officers are it's a small town. I told him, thank God, in LA, we don't get such treatment. You can call 911 and you can wait for, even if it's a hit and run, for a long time before they even pick up the phone. But in Camarillo, it's a little different, and they have a good connection. It's very nice. It's very beautiful.
In Canada, call 911. A fire truck shows up. So
no, it wasn't a burning fire. When you call 911,
but they show up anyway. Even if you tell them, oh no, don't send it. Fire truck shows up.
Here too. Not in California, no.
Oh, okay.
Not in Los Angeles, not in California.
There was it's also connected with what you said with a miracle of the policeman being involved in that mitzvah. But it happened to some years back. One of my machatonim had a fire in their house on Pesach, and the house was totally, consumed. Thank God everybody got out. But they had a Sefer Torah in their house, they had a shul there. And one of the policemen, I don't know if it's the policeman or the firefighter, but actually he was Jewish, and he went he saved the Torah. He actually saved the Torah. And
I read that.
And he actually got, he got reprimanded for doing that, because you're not allowed to go to a house to save articles. You can only go there to save people. And so, but he knew the value, not even being frum, but just knowing this is so precious.
The Jewish,
but Jewish, and he had such a schuss of being, saving a Torah like that from harm.
Well, he was saving people. That's what he knew. He was doing.
He knew it in his soul. But I'm just saying,
he was saving people,
and not even thinking. But doing it in a place of above logic, because he knew.
The other police didn't know that he was saving people. When they say you can only save people, they don't know that he was saving people.
Yeah. There was a part of that story that I read also. They had just received the Torah that was from the Holocaust. The Torahs that were written in Europe in the olden days before the pre-Holocaust, many of them were huge, very big. So that Torah that was donated and from the Holocaust, from pre-Holocaust time, didn't fit into the synagogues. Aron Kodesh, into the how do you say, the ark.
Right.
Fit. So they kept it in a different location. So that Torah was saved because it wasn't in the actual sanctuary in the ark where the other Torah was. Anyway, but that Torah was rescued. All the Torahs were rescued. There wasn't thank God any damage to the Torahs.
So I just imagine you're like just envisioning that you're literally saving lives, like with the Torah that's being written, with the mezuzahs being checked, with the tefillin being checked, like it's you're like going into Geula, like wow, you're actually saving lives, you're saving worlds. It's like such a beautiful plus you have. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. You ladies can maybe help me figure this out, because sometimes, like this Sunday, there was a woman with the elderly gentleman, 106 years old. So she wanted to buy mezuzahs. So when she was debating how many to buy, so I was like, all your doors, of course. And she was like, well, I don't know if we need for all the doors. And I was like, I spontaneously said to her, don't you want him to have a long life? She said he's had a long life. So you want a long life. And she ended up getting 5 mezuzahs, thank God. But afterwards I said, it was pretty chutzpahdik of me to, I was a little bit like, but that was a spontaneous, like, don't you want a long life?
Sometimes you have to know that when you're doing things like that, the words that come out of your mouth probably would not have come out, but they're like you're just doing what Hashem wants. So it just sort of like Hashem kind of speaks through you. So you might not have said that typically, but for whatever reason, that's what she needed to hear, and the words came out of your mouth. So the fact that you bought 5 is pretty amazing. That's amazing.
Did you tell her that we protect every door? That we always put on every door?
Yeah, that's what I said. Don't you want a long life? Basically.
Oh no, but you told her it goes on every single door, and then
yeah. And you want for all the doors, and she was like, well, we can start with 2. It's a hard thing. I told the rabbi, and I tell the other rabbis, it's really their job, because we're selling mezuzahs, so I don't feel comfortable, pushing it so much. It's really the rabbi's job to explain to their congregation how important it is to have on all the doors.
Because you don't want to look like a business person coming
exactly. In. I don't want to be. I don't have a relationship with them, and I don't want to push them. Maybe sometimes they need somebody from the outside to bring it up.
It is very hard, because it's a big it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's not like like just spend $10 a thing. Like it's an investment, and it's expensive, and so it's not easy. It's not like just
right. It's a leap for them. It's
it really is. If you don't have the depth of knowledge of it is like you're just doing it because your gut is telling you this is right, but there's no basis to it,
right.
You know what though, your spontaneity, Yehudis, that you gave was not a selling thing to her. Spontaneity and honesty, she can see that it came from the right place, and it gave her the courage to buy it.
Yeah,
and it didn't. You weren't coming off as a salesperson in that case. I mean, sometimes you may. But this case, definitely not. That spontaneity really aroused her courage, and she believed you.
Yeah, you're right. And
well, you come from a place of loving the mitzvah. You believe in it. Coming from a very deep. That's your soul speaking. So your soul speaking is going to touch someone else's soul. You're not like just. Yeah, that's where you're coming from, and anybody who sees you will feel that.
And I think so. Not everybody there did get. There are other people there who got 1. The 2 other people got 1, and then there was. So it wasn't like everybody there. Some like this other woman said that I'm gonna 2 for now is good for me. I didn't push her. I didn't want to. I think she's also, like you said, a woman who's gonna need. I'm gonna have more of a relationship with her, and she's gonna be happy with what she has, and in stages. She's maybe has a tighter budget, whatever it is. I think she has a tighter budget. She's living alone. She doesn't, it may take a, so her, I didn't insist. She said it in a way that like, this is what I want to do for now. And I heard her. I didn't
No,
do.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You sometimes like, you have to give people the space to do the baby steps that they're
Yeah.
ready for. Because if you push, you sometimes push people
Right.
the
Especially
other
for,
way. So it's,
yeah.
yeah,
I just have to go by my gut. My gut is,
yeah. You have a really deep intuition. So if you go by it, you're gonna do right.
and I think also after they have their misses up and they feel really good about it and they feel protected. A lot of people tell me afterwards, I felt like I feel really good. I have my missus checked. I feel really good. I have my missus is up. I feel good. So that sense, you can't replace that with anything really. You can't, what is that? What's cool?
The ink, she said, ink and from walnut. She were talking about in a nutshell.
The
And
ink?
yeah, it's a long story. It's a flow. I mean, that was the conclusion of a long thing about walnut, in a nutshell. It started with in a nutshell. And then Karen posted some walnuts. And then she said her grandfather had this walnut thing opener. And
Oh.
then it came, you can make ink and it was like,
Oh, you can make ink with the walnut opener?
yeah, no, with the walnut. You have
With
to
the
open the walnut, get the walnut, and then you can make ink.
Oh,
Black walnut.
interesting. So that's also very interesting. Also there's different qualities of ink. I think, you can't just use any ink. The ink that the soap we use has to be made, from certain things. I'm not sure what they are, but there's like all these things. And that rabbi that had the child and they had to do a C-section and was in ICU for a while. But this is when my husband was checking his mezuzah. I took a video of it because my husband was pouring a lot of ink into the mezuzah. It was one of those mezuzahs that he said is very dry and was like,
Right.
will start crumbling if he's not, like you could see it's already like losing its ink. So he was pouring, like he kept looking for letters to add ink to, and he was putting again and again and again lots of ink. And that was the mezuzah of that rabbi whose baby just had the miracle.
You know what? That lots of ink thing is so amazing that it can be done and he knows how. Because when you put a lot of ink, like I've had a fountain pen, and if I put a lot of ink, it just spills into the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a science. There's a science.
A lot of ink and precise is, to me,
it's a lot of science. Yeah, and
my
doing it
gosh.
under pressure with like a lot of
Oh,
around him.
wow.
Yeah, it is it's an art. It's definitely an art.
Yashikoa. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is God forbid, the ink does spill or splatter onto the part. You can't, and it could make it puzzle, could make it not kosher.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and that happens. That could happen. Yeah, and then it's not the sofer, according to Torah law, he has to pay for it if he messes it up. So there's a lot of risk.
It takes a real concentration and a real diligence and a real everything. Just a real.
A lot of risk over there.
No, it was really, it sounded like the scroll was really faded and it needed a whole bunch of new life into it. It's almost like symbolic of what happened.
More life, another life story, bringing life.
Yeah, and this before anybody knew anything was wrong or problematic with the baby. So thank God.
I wanted to make a comment about those giant Torah scrolls that from long ago. I read one time that the word that Yasher Koach came from strength to lift the Torah scroll, and they'd say Yasher Koach so they could lift it. But now that you say they're so huge, I'm sure they needed Yasher Koach to lift it and to hold it up.
That's kind of neat. Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's easier to write a bigger Torah than it is to write a small Torah. It's much easier to write bigger letters than to write teeny letters.
Oh,
perfectly.
For sure. Especially a mezuzah.
And mezuzah and Torah, same thing. It's big letters or small letters. Yeah. So
really small on mezuzah.
Really small is it's very hard to make them good letters.
Yeah, but I don't mean really small in those sort of fake mezuzahs. I don't mean those, but even in just a regular mezuzah, it's so much smaller than it is in a Torah.
Well,
isn't it?
Could write, yeah, generally. So that's why actually Karen bought for my husband. I had him write a big one, 25 centimeter mezuzah,
Oh,
and the letters are big. The
yeah,
letters are nice, and they're probably the same size of writing in the Torah.
right.
And they're unusual though. This, I want to put this on my door. I decided it's a 30 centimeter. See how big it is? I love it.
Wow. Put it by your head,
So
yeah.
I have a 25 centimeter. This is on my front door that my husband wrote. So this would be it has a case now, but I'm thinking of changing it to this one.
What door are you going to put it on?
What?
What door will you put that on?
I'm thinking of putting my front door.
Oh, good.
I'd like to. We'll see. I ordered a bunch more 25 and 30s. I really like, I want it to become much more popular that people put big ones on the front door, not teeny ones, especially if they have big doors. But even if they don't have big doors, it should become like, I want it to become I remember in the 80s, people were scared and embarrassed to have a Jewish identity. It's becoming much more common that people want to flaunt their Jewish identity and show we are Jewish, and not to show any fear. It's the Jewish neshama coming out and saying, here we are, and we're proud and we're happy, and we know God's watching us. It's the Jewish neshama just coming out.
Now all of a sudden, there's a lot of like on social media. You should see who else is coming out because they see the strength of God operating with the Jewish people. People are now, they want to jump on the bandwagon, and they're like, yeah, go. And then, and a lot of the evil ones are quiet, although there's still some obsessed ones, but it's such a big difference, right?
They don't have communication devices. So
oh my goodness. Can you imagine if some of them were on social media spreading this garbage?
I want to tell my husband and the mezuzah story. When we got our first mezuzah, my husband said, no way, no mezuzahs. And then it turns out that his mother thought that mezuzahs were to say we're Jewish, and it's like a cross. And so she said, that's what she said. And there's no way we're going to advertise that we're Jewish. And
yeah.
And my husband took that to heart, and he wouldn't let us have one. But secretly, he went to the bookstore and he looked up why do you put up a mezuzah?
Nice.
I had no idea he was doing that. And one day he came home, he said, we can have a mezuzah.
Oh, wonderful.
I learned that it's to have life, and that's why we're going to have a mezuzah.
Right. Protection also.
But it was, how the generations go. His mother was from Russia. I mean, his mother's family.
Right. So it was an old days mentality. Is you hide your Judaism because it's scary.
Yes.
And nowadays it's the opposite. People who are not necessarily observant, or their parents did not put up mezuzahs or did not observe. They want to show their Jewish identity and be proud of it, and show that they believe that God is protecting them. It's an amazing thing coming out. Amazing. Yeah. So big mezuzahs. Wow. This is a 30 centimeter. Yeah. I just ordered a whole bunch more, 25 and 30s. So thank you, ladies. And let's do the psukim. I'm going to do the psukim, and we'll do our song. Here we go. Parasiva Manu Moshe, Marasha,